Here we are, Real Recovery Talk. I am your host, Tom Conrad. In today's episode, it is just me, another short episode coming to you. In today's episode, I want to discuss meetings in general and what these meetings are really meant for. First, thank you for tuning in to YouTube, and thank you for watching. And if you can, leave us a comment, ask us a question, whatever you would like there. And if you're tuning in on the podcast platform, whichever one that may be, really appreciate that as well. You can always reach out to myself or Ben. Our email addresses are tom@realrecoverytalk.com and ben@realrecoverytalk.com. And you can send us an email and we will gladly have a conversation with you about your specific situation. So, like I said, in today's episode, I want to discuss meetings in general. Now, this isn't going to be specific to a certain program. You have Alcoholics Anonymous, you have Narcotics Anonymous, you have Celebrate Recovery. There's a bunch of, you have CA, which is Cocaine Anonymous. I've seen a ton of different 12-step programs out there. There's also Smart Recovery. There's a bunch of different programs that you can get involved in, which is going to offer you support when you are getting clean and sober. So this message is not portrayed towards one specific program, because I think what we're going to cover is all encompassing, and you're going to have these issues in any program that you so choose, including church, because a lot of people get sober inside the church too. And again, you can see all this stuff. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the fact that when you do decide to get clean and sober and you take that plunge and you decide, okay, this is something that I'm going to do, and you know that you're going to get involved in some sort of support program, understand you will be let down. I know that's rough to say right out of the gate, but it's the reality of it, because what encompasses these programs are human beings. And unfortunately, we are all flawed to a certain degree. So you will be let down inside the meetings. And I've seen this a lot where, you build some relationships inside whatever program this is that you choose, and only to find out that maybe these people that you built this relationship with, they're not what you thought, or they're not who you thought that they were. And it's kind of unfortunate, because people can get frustrated and you get let down because you build these relationships with people. This is something that chances are it is completely new to you, building healthy relationships with people, only to find out that maybe they're mean. They're kind of an ugly person. They just don't have that awareness about themselves or about you, and you just don't get along with them. You don't vibe with them. And for whatever reason, you just feel let down. It happens a lot, and I would encourage you to not get frustrated with that, because again, there's a ton of different people inside of these rooms that you will meet, and it's just the nature of the beast. You're going to come across people that you do not enjoy being around, and rang true for me. I was going to the same meeting when I first got sober. The first year, I was attending the same meetings over and over and over again on a weekly basis. Now, inside of that meeting, there were a core group of people that I really enjoyed being around. And then there were some that inside that meeting, they just absolutely tried taking it over. They would talk too much. They would talk at me instead of to me or with me. And they just weren't portraying the message that I ultimately wanted to hear, or that I was receptive to hearing. But I knew that there were people inside of that meeting that I really did enjoy being around. And so I stuck it out. And those are the people that ultimately helped me build the foundation of sobriety that I have today. Another topic, or another thing that I want to address, is that not all the meetings are good in general. Again, I'm coming up on 12 years of sobriety, thank God. And over the course of 12 years, I've been to hundreds of different meetings. And I will tell you that a lot of those meetings, in my opinion, are not good meetings. Now, what is the definition of good? Well, I'll leave that up to you. but I know and I understand what my motives are behind going to the meetings. I know what it is that I'm looking for when I'm attending these meetings. And some of these meetings just didn't fit the bill. That's the reality of it. A lot of them, there was more glorifying of drinking and drugging than there was of the solution. I don't care to hear about how many beers you can drink in one sitting, or how much heroin you could shoot up in a day, or the activities that you partake in when you're trying to attain your drugs, or all of that stuff. We call them war stories. I don't need to hear about that stuff. What I want to hear is the solution. What does your life look like now, and how did you get there? We're all cut from the same cloth. And I say this all the time. We're each unique in our own situation, but we're all cut from the same cloth. Bottom line. And a lot of meetings that you go to, they're just not good in the sense that you don't feel good when you leave the meeting. You kind of feel because that's what people were sharing, and for whatever reason, they thought that that was okay. And that a lot of times should be controlled by the person that is, in fact, leading that meeting. Most of these meetings, when you go into them, there's a person sitting at the front of the meeting, and they're the chair of the meeting. They're the ones that is supposed to keep order in the meeting. And a lot of times, those people are fairly new in recovery because it's a service commitment, and it's something that, we have newcomers do oftentimes because it gets them more involved. Well, when you have somebody sitting at the front of the meeting that has 6-8 months of sobriety, they're going to have a hard time standing up for the meeting itself. And they're going to struggle with, hey, you're talking a little bit too much about your drug use or your alcohol use. Let's talk more about the solution. And so, unfortunately, it's hard to have somebody mediate that because oftentimes it's rooted in fear. And you get a bunch of drug addicts in one room or a bunch of alcoholics in one room, there's a lot of strong opinions. So we try and keep it solution focused. And the majority of meetings that I have attended are all solution focused, but I do want to put that out there that there are some bad ones that you could go to. Now, with that being said, knowing that there are bad meetings, I've seen this all too often, that a client of ours here at Rock Recovery Center, or somebody that we know close to us that's getting sober, what they'll do is they'll go to 1 or 2 or maybe 3 meetings, and it just so happens that those 3 meetings that they went to weren't the greatest meetings that they could have gone to, and they ultimately just say, see, told you, this is all a big hoax. These meetings are not good. I didn't get anything out of it. Therefore, I'm not going to go again. And I would encourage you, if that is you, or if you've ever been in that position, you gotta stick it out. You have to continue to branch out and try new meetings and talk with new people, because ultimately, and this is what I want to talk about and kind of wrap up this episode with, is I think these meetings are more about learning from other people's experiences. Now, there's a common saying inside the meetings: you take what you want and you leave the rest. I leave a lot when I'm at these meetings. There's a lot of stuff inside these meetings that I don't really care to hear. I don't care to talk about, but there are things in that meeting that I do need to hear and that I will take from that meeting that will give me a different perspective on my sobriety. And those things change over the years. As the longer that you remain sober, you have a different perspective on things, and each meeting will hold a different definition or have different value to you. So I encourage you, don't take your first few meetings and base your decision off of that. Explore. Take, however many meetings it takes for you to understand that this is something that I need. This is something that I can utilize in my recovery tool belt. So we're utilizing other people's experiences to help us in our sobriety, because lo and behold, when we do get sober, we need to seek out wise people. And you've heard me say this time and time again: you show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And the idea, in my opinion, a big part of these meetings is about the community that we can build, the network of people that we can build. Yes, there is a 12-step component. You do need to get a sponsor and work steps, or you don't need to, but it's highly suggested. But that's just a small portion of it. Then you have the service work side of it where, go there, show up a little bit early, make the coffee, be a greeter at the door, whatever the case is. That's another portion of it. But a vast majority of importance when it comes to that meeting, I say it all the time, it's the meeting before the meeting and the meeting after the meeting. You're going to meet people that you're going to want to be around, that are sober, hopefully that's been sober longer than you, that you can seek wise counsel from, and they can help you get to each stage of your sobriety that you're looking to get to. I think it's very important that when attending these meetings, you network with people, you build community, and ultimately you utilize the meeting for what it's there for. So I hope that helps. If you have any sort of reluctance to trying meetings, whether it's 12-step or Smart Recovery or Celebrate Recovery or through the church or whatever the case is, you choose what you feel is going to be right for you. And if it doesn't work out for you, try something else. The main thing is don't continue doing what you were doing, because chances are, if you're anything like me, I proved myself wrong time and time again. So, hope that helps. Thank you for tuning in. Again, thank you for watching on YouTube. Thank you for listening to the podcast. And ultimately, our message here is to help you turn your mess into your message. That is it. We will see y'all later.